We just got some huge news from the Pokemon Company over in Japan, where they have revealed a new Japanese set, and we are going to be seeing these cards in our main set in the fall. I know it seems a ways away. We've got Twilight Masquerade, which still hasn't come out yet, and these are the cards that are going to come afterwards, but these cards look incredible. I'm Jet from InThirdPerson.com. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about the new cards revealed in the upcoming Twilight Wanderer set. I really should have put the name of the set in the slide. It's Twilight Wanderer. There are 64 cards, and this set is releasing in Japan on June 7th, 2024. And yeah, these cards are most likely going to be part of our fall main set, which is most likely coming out in August or September. This set focuses on the Loyal 3, which are feature Pokemon in the Scarlet and Violet DLC, and this first one is Okidogi EX. It has 250 HP, Dark-type basic Pokemon, so this thing is thick with 3 retreat, and it's got the first attack, Poison Muscle, for 1 colorless energy. You get to search your deck for 2 basic dark energy and attach them to this Pokemon, then shuffle your deck, and if you attached any energy in this way, this Pokemon is now poisoned, which brings that 250 to 230, which kind of puts you in a little bit of a sticky situation. 230 is, there are a number of decks that can hit higher than 230 or hit 230, so like you might put yourself in one shot range of certain decks, but a lot of decks can't hit that. And if you can stay alive on that following turn using that Poison Muscle, you get to use Crazy Chain for 2 dark and a colorless, where you do 130 damage, and if this Pokemon is poisoned, this attack does 130 more damage. 260 damage is going to take out any basic EX, any basic V. I think even Blood Moon Ursaluna, which has a massive 260 HP, that we're going to one-shot this as well, if you can get the poison on and survive the previous turn, if you're using Poison Muscle to get that poison on in the first place. However, there are other ways of getting that poison on. Brute Bonnet is a logical pairing with Okidogi EX. It has that ability with the Toxic Powder, where if you've got an Ancient Capsule on Brute Bonnet, you then get to poison both Pokemon, and not only are you activating the poison on Okidogi, you're also poisoning your opponent's Pokemon as well, giving you another 20 damage. Now that's 280. And then you also could use Pecharunt EX, which has an ability that can poison the active Pokemon when it moves in, but that doesn't add poison to your opponent's Pokemon. So Brute Bonnet, kind of the way to go here. And you can even add more damage with the new card Binding Mochi, where the attacks of the poison Pokemon this card is attached to do 40 more damage. So now we're talking about 260 from the attack, plus 20 from the poison from Brute Bonnet, plus another 40 from Binding Mochi, and we are hitting 320 damage, which is going to be enough to one-shot almost anything in the game. And then if you can also get Radiant Hisuian Sneasler on your board, we're now talking about 340 damage in a single attack, thanks to that extra poison that Radiant Sneasler drops. And now we're talking like 340 damage. I might have screwed up the math, but I think it's going to be enough to one-shot pretty much anything in the game that isn't like Blastoise EX, which hardly anyone plays anyway. So I know it takes a lot of work to get Okidogi set up, but this has a ton of potential to do a ton of damage. And even if you're doing just as long as you can get some poison on the Okidogi, you're still hitting really solid numbers at 260. Pecharunt EX is a Pokemon with not a lot of HP for a 2-prizer, 190, 1 retreat, dark type, lots of dark types coming in this set. It has the ability Chain of Command, where once during your turn, you may switch one of your bench Pokemon with your active Pokemon, and if you do, your new active Pokemon is now poisoned. This is one way to get the poison on to your Okidogi. Could also be used to pivot other Pokemon in and out of the active. I'll show you some of those in a sec that can benefit from this Chain of Command ability. So not bad in terms of having that free switch. I guess technically, if you really wanted to tech against Snorlax, you could do this as a way of pivoting your Pokemon in and out of the active. We also have the attack Irritating Burst, which for 2 darkness energy does 60 damage for each of the prizes your opponent has taken. And if we get to the end of the game, they've taken 5 prizes. This is doing 300 damage. Now, if you can pair that also with Brute Bonnet and pair that with the Radiant Hisuian Sneasler, this is also one-shotting anything in the game. It's a little harder to set up because Pecharunt can't poison itself when you are pivoting into the active. But yeah, with the Brute Bonnet, with the Hisuian Sneasler, this thing can also do incredible damage. And just by itself, 300 damage as an endgame attacker is going to knock out a ton of stuff. So really like this as an endgame attacker. Monkey Dory EX has an ability where if this gets knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack while you have a Pecharunt EX in play, your opponent takes 1 less prize card. Now, it does require you to have the Pecharunt in play, but having a dark type 210 HP single prize attacker in that sense is very cool. Its attack is okay. Dirty Headbutt for 2 dark and a colorless does 190 damage, and during your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Dirty Headbutt. It can knock out some 2 prizers like a Squawkabilly or a Lumineon V. But yeah, it's a little low on the damage, I guess. If you have the poison play with the Pecharunt, that's going to end the Binding Mochi. You can get even more damage on there. Like this plus the Binding Mochi is going to get you 230. It's going to one-shot stuff like Roaring Moon and Iron Hands while also only dropping a single prize. Some interesting combos here, but again, it's going to take a little bit of work. You have to have the Pecharunt in there, play the Binding Mochi. Also keep in mind that if you get knocked out by something other than damage, so if Roaring Moon does Frenzied Gouging, if a Sableye does Lost Mine, if a Giratina V-Star does the Twilight, oh man, what is that? Star Requiem, that's it. Star Requiem, then it negates this ability. So you're gonna drop 2 prizes there. It's okay. I feel like, yeah, being able to drop 1 less prize if you can fulfill that condition is really nice, and you're probably gonna be playing Pecharunt with Monkey Dory anyway. But the damage is a little low, and yeah, it's going to take a little bit to get the extra damage going. And I also just have concerns about Darkness Energy. I think with all of these Pokemon, getting them charged up, we do have Dark Patch in the format right now, but it feels like a lot of energy to get on the board to get all of these attackers rolling. So I do have some concerns there. Pheasantipity EX is the last EX we're going to be looking at today, and it has some really cool benefits to it. Dark type, 210 HP, and it has the ability to take advantage. If one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn, you may use this ability, draw 3 cards. You can't use more than 1 take advantage ability per turn, so no reason to bench any more than 1 of these. But that's a really nice ability, just being able to draw 3 cards with a single. It doesn't matter how many cards, you're not drawing up to a certain number, you just get to draw 3 additional cards, and you only have to bench 1 Pokemon without evolving it or anything. Really nice ability that you can kind of splash anywhere. And on top of that, the attack is not bad either for 3 colorless energy. Cruel Arrow does 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, which gives you a sniping option. Again, it's going to be difficult to power this up if you're playing this in the context of all these other Loyal 3 cards. Maybe you're running for Dark Patch to help you get powered up. There might be some other ways of getting energy on here. Maybe you're playing this in, I don't know, an Arceus deck or a Blissey deck where you can move the energy around, Blissey EX. And you can power this up a little more reasonably, but I think this is primarily here for the ability, and the ability is great. Kyurem's attack is incredibly expensive. For 2 water, 2 metal, and a colorless, this Trifrost attack forces you to discard all your energy off of the Kyurem, but you get to do 110 damage to 3 of your opponent's Pokemon. And that can take out 3 smaller Pokemon, which is very nice, but it's really expensive. You wouldn't power this up normally unless your opponent has played Colress, thanks to the ability Anti-Plasma, where if your opponent has a card with Colress in its name, the attack cost of this Pokemon's Trifrost is 1 colorless instead. And so this becomes the Drapion V of Lost Box, that sort of hard counter. You can splash this into any deck, and you don't have to even be running water melt because it's 1 colorless energy. You can tech this into any deck, and if they don't have Manaphy in play, you're taking out Comfey, Sableye, Cramorants, and you wipe half their board with just one attack, which is amazing. It might be coming a little late. Lost Box is not as popular as it once was, and by the time this comes out, Lost Box will only be standard legal for another couple of months, but there is another Colress card coming out which makes this attack relevant going forward. That new card is Colress's Obsession. This is a new supporter card where it allows you to search your deck for a stadium card and an energy card, reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Now, it doesn't seem spectacular on the surface. However, it says energy card, which means you can grab any energy card, double turbo, mist energy, any sort of special energy you can grab with this as well. And a stadium, you could get something like a town store or something that gets you another card or some other major benefit. So it's not bad. I'm not sure it's good enough of a card to run, but it does have some interesting ramifications. One of the cards you can get with Colress's Obsession is the new Neutral Center, and this is our first Ace Spec Stadium, where it prevents all damage done to Pokemon that don't have rule boxes by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX and Pokemon V, kind of giving you that sort of wall ability like Mimikyu has, but you get to put this on all your non-rule box Pokemon. As a stadium, that's crazy. Now, the big problem is this is a stadium, and this can get bumped with Lost Vacuum, could just get bumped by another stadium, and there is a chance that you will get zero value out of this card. And making things worse is that if this card is in your discard pile, it can't be put into your deck or hand. So once this is gone, it is gone. However, if you are playing a single prize attacker that can do a ton of damage on top of that, like if you're playing against another single prize attacker, this does nothing. However, there are so many Pokemon EX and Pokemon V in the game that are attacking, and if you can wall them off for a turn or two and your attacker can get you enough value to justify having this as your Ace Spec of choice, that's great. I still feel like there are other better Ace Spec cards that you could be running other than Neutral Center, even if you're playing a single prize deck. But I do think this has some interesting attributes to it, and it's something to consider, especially if you're playing a single prize deck. And there we go, a first look at the new cards from the upcoming Twilight Wanderer set. We will see these cards most likely in the fall. It's going to be a little while till we get these cards in our hands outside of Japan to play, but really wanted to give you that first look as soon as possible. Again, I normally don't record videos on Saturdays. I was going to record some stuff for the week later in the week, but then this news dropped last night, so I figured why not get this out there right now. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a wonderful Saturday or whatever day it happens to be when you're watching this. And yeah, let's get out of here. Some quick plugs before we go, though. You can find me on all the things: YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at @InThirdPerson. You can find me on Twitch at @InThirdPerson, where I stream the Pokemon trading card game every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And check out the website, inthirdperson.com, for more articles and videos on video games, board games, and other nerdy pursuits. So until the next one, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.